Cold. Nebraska, February morning here. It's like really cold. They canceled school again because it was so cold this morning. But true to form, in Nebraska next week's going to be in the 50s. And as I taught my friend Alexei from Ukraine to talk about Nebraska and the weather, is to say it's Nebraska. Changes happen quickly here, especially in March. Like in the month of March, we've had it happen like one part of the state has snow, another part has freezing rain, and where I live, we have a thunderstorm. So changes can happen quickly here with the weather. It makes me think about change in life. And when I think about changes in life, they always say that the one constant in life is change. Well, for me, the one constant in life is Jesus. And yes, changes happen, they come and go. I've been through so many changes in my life that um, if I knew what was good, if I knew what was ahead of me when I stepped out towards ministry, I might have thought, well, I don't know about that. There's been so many ups and downs and things like that. But the one constant for me has been Jesus. And in Hebrews 13:8, it says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. But I want to explore a little bit about that, about what is that talking about when it says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And the reason I bring this up is that it's true. However, there were some changes for Jesus. The big change, of course, we read about in Philippians 2, where it says, who being in the very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. So obviously that was one change Jesus experienced physically when he left his glory in heaven to come to earth to be born as a human baby, and then to live on this earth for 33 years and then die that terrible death on the cross for us. So what does that mean? There's something that we read also about that in Hebrews in verse chapter 5, in verses 7 and 8. During his earthly life, Jesus offered both requests and supplications with loud cries and tears to the one who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his devotion. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through the things he suffered, and being perfected in this way, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. Being perfected, he's the perfect Son of God. Being perfected, what are we talking about there? Well, we see in Hebrews chapter 2, for this reason, he had to be made like them, fully human in every way, in order that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in service to God, and that he might make atonement for the sins of the people. Because he himself suffered when he's tempted, he's able to help those who are being tempted. And then Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 and 16, therefore, since we have a great high priest who's ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who's been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. So Jesus went through changes physically, became a human being, became a human baby, fully God, fully human. He suffered in his life. Because of his suffering, which is, of course, the cross, the torture, his death on the cross. But there are many other ways that he suffered, other things he endured in this life that I explore in my book, Jesus Understands Trauma. Because Jesus went through all that, he was made complete. Well, how does this perfect Son of God be made complete? Well, because he went through all of that kind of, all the different kinds of sufferings in this life, pain, death, hunger, um, being alienated, being harassed, all those kinds of many things. He's able to understand us and empathize with us because he lived this life. He lived this life. So because of that, I can come to him and I can spend time with him knowing that he experienced this life. So when I have pain because of my chronic illness, I know that he understands pain. When I'm having a downtime, I understand I know that he understands um, dread. I mean, the night before he was crucified, right before he's arrested, he prayed, and in Luke, in the book of Gospel according to Luke, says that he sweat drops of blood. So intense was his feelings that he was experiencing at the time. Because he went through all that, he understands this, and he's able to be our sympathetic high priest. So the suffering completed him for that mission of being our savior and our high priest, our sympathetic high priest. He will return. Now he's in heaven in all of his glory again, seated at the right hand of the Father, but he's still fully human. He's fully God. You can still see the scars from his crucifixion, and he will return to earth as the king. So what does it mean Jesus Christ was the same yesterday, today, and evermore? His character has never changed. The fact that he's God has never changed. We can trust him because we know that he's not like just going to change his mind about loving us. He's not going to change his mind about saving us. He's not going to change his mind about coming back for us. He's the same yesterday and today and forevermore. His character never changes. He may have willingly experienced change as far as his physical form, as far as his suffering and all that, but he did that on our behalf because of his great love for us. That never changes. So his character never changes. The truth about who Jesus is never changes. And the fact that he's coming back again, wow, nothing can change that. He's coming back again. And that's our great hope, that he's coming back for us so that we can be with him forever. I just think, wow, that's our future hope. That gives me hope, because if this life is all there is to find hope in, oh my gosh, there's no hope. But as crazy as life gets right now, so many changes happening in the United States and the world. Jesus never changes. His character never changes. The fact that he's God never changes. His love for us never changes. So he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I just love that truth, that he is eternally, never changes, eternally the Son of God. His character will never change, and he's not going to change his mind about us.